Hello viewers, welcome to English for my world. Well, when we try to influence people, when we try to convince people, we try to use different modes, different ways of influencing them, convincing them. Well, all that I am trying to say is persuasion and dissuasion. When we persuade someone, we try to use the rationale and the appeal to influence people. And we try to tell them what they are thinking and what they are doing may not be correct. And we try to influence them in such a way that they accept our ideas, our views and opinions. I would like to give a very living example of that sort in persuading people. Y.S. Jagan, who is the son of Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy, who passed away in chopper crash, helicopter crash. When he went for election campaigning, at the time of his father's death, he was trying to persuade people. Well, most of the leaders, most of the political leaders, when they go for election campaigning, they try to influence people by emotionally and by using their rationale, by using their appeal in influencing people. So Jagan was saying in the campaign that after the death of Dr. Y.S.R., Dr. Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy, the hearts have stopped beating lup, dub, and the hearts have started beating YSR, YSR, YSR. So this is one way, one method of influencing or acting upon the emotions of people, acting upon the emotions of listeners. That is persuasion. Well, when it comes to dissuade or dissuasion, this is convincing people. The speaker tries to convince the person to give it a second thought, to rethink about his decision, or to change his state of mind, to change his frame of mind by putting forth valid reasons for it. Why is that you are not taking the right decision? Why is that you are not on the right track? And what sort of consequences that it may lead to? What sort of repercussions that it would result in? That is dissuasion. Well, now that I started persuasion, I began with persuasion, I would like to introduce a conversation between two brothers. And the two brothers are Chetan and Sudhir. Chetan would like to leave his bank job and start a business of his own. Sudhir, his elder brother, is trying to dissuade Chetan by saying, I think what you are doing is wrong. I think you should give it a second thought. Well, Chetan says, well, Sudhir, I think it is high time that I left my job and started a business of my own. I've been thinking about it for the past some time, but I haven't been able to take a decision on that. What do you think? That's how the conversation takes off. And Sudhir responds, he shouts back saying, I don't think you have taken a right decision. Maybe you need to give it a second thought. Chetan reacts to that stating, well, I think if I don't make a decision now, it is now or never. Probably I will not be able to make a decision in the days to come. It is now or never. Again comes our dear Sudhir, his elder brother, into picture by dissuading him, by convincing him, saying, I think it's going to be a risky affair. It may lead to problems later. You may regret about your decision later on. Because starting a business of your own needs huge amount of money, as well as vast experience in the field. You should have a thorough knowledge, a sort of in-depth knowledge of the business that you are going to start. And without that, without investing huge amount of money, what business can you do these days? Is what Sudhir's response to Chetan's decision. Well, Chetan says, Chetan actually gives it a second thought while talking to him, as while the conversation was on. Well, probably now after talking to you, Chetan is telling his elder brother Sudhir, probably after talking to you, I am rethinking about it. Don't worry, I'll take some time to take a call on this. I understand the risk that is involved in this after talking to you. It was good that I shared my views with you, my decision with you. Probably but for your support, but for your views on this, I might have landed in trouble. I might have ended up in some sort of trouble. Thank you, Sudhir. I'll give it a second thought. And Sudhir says, now my complete kind of, the burden is off my shoulders. I'm greatly relieved. I'm truly relieved now. Now that you are convinced that you will give it a second thought, I am completely relieved, says Sudhir to Chetan. So that's how the conversation proceeds. So whenever we want to advise someone about a decision that they have not carefully thought of, we will have to probably give them valid reasons, and we will have to show them the advantages and disadvantages of that. Rather, more than advantages, when we are concerned, when we are thoughtful about their welfare, in their interest, if we are thinking in their interest, probably we will have to give them, show them, explain them, describe them valid reasons about why and why not. I think you better give it a second thought, was what Sudhir's views, Sudhir's remarks and Sudhir's feedback about the decision that was taken by his brother Chetan, who was working in a bank. Right? So that's how we dissuade people. We actually try to convince people to change their frame of mind. Great, wonderful. Now I am gradually trying to give you the targeted language expressions that are used in this dissuasion that we spoke about. I said dissuasion is nothing but convincing. We are trying to convince the opposite person. How? By expressing our views on that to change to bring a change in the decision. To bring a change in the decision that is actually taken by the decision maker. So in both the conversations, in the first example that I gave you, I spoke about Jagan trying to persuade the public or people on the death of his father, emotionally, and by appealing to them and by using his rationale. When it comes to dissuasion or dissuade, here in these two brothers, in the conversation that happened between the two brothers, that is Chetan and Sudhir, Sudhir has tried his best to convince his brother Chetan to give it a second thought and not to be hasty in resigning his job, because resignation is a big decision according to Sudhir, and to venture into a business, to start a business, might be a risky affair. So another valid remark of Sudhir is that might prove to be very risky. That might be a very risky affair. because in your job you are well placed and you don't have that pressure and tension, maybe targets. Now when you invest your own money, it involves huge amount of money as well as experience. You might end up in a loss. There are so many other things that you need to take into consideration. So likewise, so point by point, Sudhir tried his best to convince his brother to give it a second thought. Give it a second thought. Give what a second thought? Give the decision that is taken a second thought. And based on that second thought, then take a call on that. You can take a call after giving it a second thought. So brother, I don't think you have taken the right decision. I think you need some more time to take a call on that. So taking a call is taking a decision, giving it time. So these are all the kinds of expressions that are used in dissuading people, in convincing people by various remarks, by various logical reasons. Right. Now let us also discuss something more about persuading people. Imagine a group of friends have decided to go on a party. And these are all the friends of Anil, who is one of the employees in his office. All these friends have come to Anil, who is one of the very active person in his group, a person who gels well, who is a sort of optimist. Well, optimist is one who looks at the brighter side of life, and who is an extrovert, most importantly. The word that is used here is extrovert. Well, we have three kinds of people. One is extrovert, another is introvert, and the third kind of category is ambivert. Extroverts are fun-loving people. They are very open-minded, and they are very outspoken, and they gel well. They are bold, courageous kind of people. So Anil is, as he's an extrovert in his group. All his friends have come to Anil to tell him about a picnic that they have planned next week or the following week. Now Anil tells them, come on guys, come on friends, I don't think I'll be able to join you because I've got a huge assignment to be completed. My boss has given me deadlines on that. So I think I need to work on that. I don't think I'll be able to join you for the picnic. This is the response of Anil to his friends. Now all the friends of Anil are trying to persuade him to join them for the picnic. Now each friend has his rationale. Each friend has his appealing reason or appealing remark to influence Anil to join their picnic, to join their plans, their outing. Well, one friend says, come on Anil, how can we imagine this without you? Is it possible to imagine this picnic without you? You are such a wonderful person in the entire group, and we'll be missing you even if we go there. What fun do we have without you? What's the use of going to picnic without Anil? He is the one who actually helps everyone. He's the one who mingles with everybody. He's the one who actually, he's the life of our friends group, and we just can't imagine this. So these are the rational reasons, or these are the appealing reasons that his friends have to persuade or to influence Anil to accept their request, to actually accept their program or their plan to join them in going for outing and in enjoying with them, to have a wonderful time out, a day out, probably a day out. And Anil finally, after listening to all these people, he tries his best to stop them from persuading him in spite of his repeated requests. As they did not stop persuading him, finally, eventually, he accepted their request and joined them to go for a day out. Well, in all this persuasion that happened, again, one after the other, the friends are trying to influence Anil's decision of not going with them for the picnic. And all the kinds of rationale or appeals that they have made are, don't be a spoil sport, Anil. Don't be a spoil sport, or don't be a wet blanket. Wet blanket. These are two phrases that are used to talk about people who dislike all the enjoyable activities, who do not like to join the pleasure of others by remaining aloof, maybe by remaining reserved. And such people are known as spoil sport or wet blanket. Remember this idiom when you use this, maybe in your day-to-day communication, or even it could be written communication. So they are trying to tell him, don't be a spoil sport, buddy. See, you have been a wonderful friend, and see, we will miss you even if we go there. We cannot imagine going on a picnic without the company of Anil. So they are trying to use as many reasons as possible to attract him, to influence him, to emotionally appeal on his decision. And finally, because these people are trying their best to persuade him, he could not stop himself from going and joining them the picnic that they have planned. And finally they had a wonderful and amazing, beautiful time, excellent time, fantastic time in a day out. Right, thank you. Now I hope you remember the kind of expressions that I explained so far, beginning from persuasion to dissuasion. First of all, the differences, then the targeted language expressions that are used. Let me introduce some of the language expressions or phrases in influencing or convincing people. I'm going to write those expressions or phrases for you on the board. Pay attention. Well, if it is persuasion, we will miss you. We will miss you. Number 2, as I wrote, don't be a spoil sport. Don't be a spoil sport. We cannot imagine the picnic without you. How can we imagine that? You have all the time in the world. You have all the time. In the world. We will drop our plan. If you don't join us, we will go to the extent of dropping our plan if you don't join us. In all these expressions, please bear in mind the example that I gave on going for a picnic, all the friends that they have planned to go on a picnic. So we'll miss you. We cannot imagine going to a picnic without you. Don't be a spoiled sport. We cannot imagine the picnic without you. You have all the time in the world. You are saying you are very busy. But what we feel is you have all the time in the world. Even after returning, even after coming back, you can finish your assignment, your project. So please don't postpone this. Please don't stop yourself. And we will drop our plan if you don't join us. We will go to the extent of completely cancelling it. Forget about postponing. Because without you, we cannot imagine our picnic is the view. That is the way his friends feel about going on a picnic, and that is persuading a person, influencing a person by using rationale or appeal. Now coming to dissuasion or dissuading, give it a second thought. Give it a second thought. As I told you, convincing somebody to change their decision is dissuasion. So giving it a second thought, think cool, think cool, be cool, or contemplate. Well, contemplation is giving it a second thought, and deep thinking is contemplation, where you take into consideration all the repercussions of it, after effects of it, the consequences of it is contemplation. I don't think this is the right decision. I don't think this is the correct decision. This might prove to be risky. That might definitely prove to be risky. Remember the conversation that happened between two brothers where Chetan wanted to resign his job, and when Sudhir said, he used the expression, that might prove to be very risky, or that might prove to be very costly for you. That might prove to be very costly because huge amount of money and your experience, both are important for starting business. And the final one that I would like to give for dissuasion here is asking for trouble. Well, this decision might be asking for trouble, because without any experience, without proper background or knowledge of the products you are venturing into business, that might be asking for trouble. Don't be hasty. Don't take your decision in a very hasty manner. Keep cool, think deeply, and then take a call on that. Take a call is nothing but take a decision on that. That's the reason people say, don't promise anyone when you are extremely happy, and don't try to assure anybody, or don't try to give a word when you are very angry. So in your anger and in your happiness, in both these feelings, in both these emotions, don't give a word, don't promise anyone, because both are excited feelings, and after giving a promise or after making a promise, you might end up in a soup. You might land in a soup. So viewers, that's all about persuasion and dissuasion that we have for today. I hope you will remember all the phrases and expressions that are used in influencing and convincing people, and be effective users and fine speakers of English language. Thank you for watching.